that time, like, well, and you kind of just alluded to it earlier. Of course, you grew up in the church too.
For sure, heavy church.
Yeah, that's like the staple.
Any part of my music where you hear me trying to sing today is because of back then in those days.
Wait, hold on. So you still sing? I thought you.
Well, like for example, in my music, if I'm doing like bridges and stuff like that, a lot of that comes from me like just being in church, trying to just mimic certain things or thinking that I can hear certain things. I think some of that helps me.
Because there was a past interview that I watched. It was several years back, as far as talking about you transitioning from, being in the church choir singing, and then going into actually rapping. But like, was it one of those things that you wanted to do yourself, or were you influenced by your mom or your dad or anything like that?
As far as the transition?
Yeah, or just wanting to sing in general. I'm sorry.
No, probably like you as a kid, you had to sing back then. You had to do there was a certain time you just didn't have a choice. Like you're going to church, and when you get there, you're going to participate in something. So figure out what you want to do. You want to be the usher. You want to be in the choir. Figure it out. And I don't think I wanted to do it as a kid, but I'm happy I did it because I think that it kind of like laid like a somewhat of a blueprint, like within my music DNA of just at least playing with your voice. You know what I'm saying? We were singing every Sunday, so I would think definitely that they helped me.
Definitely one of those. Ways. Yeah, it's one of those things. You go Sunday morning, Sunday evening. You might do that Wednesday evening Bible study. You might be singing there.
It was short lived though. By the time I got the rap, I wasn't like singing no more.
So by that time, how old were you?
By the time I got in the rap, I didn't get into rap until my 20s. So I stopped singing in church like that in my teenage years. So there wasn't like a smooth transition like that. The rap was nowhere in my mind until like in my 20s when I started playing with music. We had like a friend of mine had like a karaoke machine. They would like be recording us over beats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And literally, it takes anything, bro. Like somebody literally just complimented me on one bar, and I started like planting the seed of what it would look like if I was a musician. But it was like months of just like trying to like put myself in that frame, because I think I enjoyed just the thought of like somebody saluting you for your intellect and it being over music. And it's like, well, how could I always be saluted for my intellect? It's just like I ain't gonna become like an orator or something like that. Like I might have to dabble in this music thing or whatever, this hip hop thing, but I ain't tell nobody for months.
Sure. Yeah, because sure. Like once you got older, as you just mentioned, you started rapping in your 20s because you went to Northwestern State University. Was that around that time that you went ahead and said, I'm going to go ahead and do this as far as rap?
So at Northwestern, I would only, we would be like rapping on beats when I would come home for the summer, but I didn't take it. It wasn't serious. It was probably, so I might have started rapping probably like seriously, probably like 21. So, but during those times when I would come home from college and we would be doing all that rapping, I think that it was slowly like, kind of pointing me into a direction before I even knew it. So the more and more that we did it, and then we started recording each other, and I think the recording aspect of it like just added like another element of how I thought about myself in that space. And probably like, shortly after that, I'm like, nah, I'm a rapper, or something like that. So I'm like looking in the mirror, like trying to like put myself in the rapper frame a lot. It was corny, but it was hilarious.
But was it someone that actually got you inspired to rap? Was it a certain occurrence? Was it a certain experience in your childhood, or was it someone like a friend or a family member that was influential? How did you get into it overall?
Literally, I think probably like listening to, because when I started flirting with the idea of becoming a rapper, I was listening to like Nas, Pac, and Jay. And also I would go to like battle raps in person. So I think like stuff like that probably was kind of like helping push me into that direction, I would say. Definitely like listening to like the greats though.
Most definitely. And you mentioned Nas, and even Jay-Z kind of touches on it a little bit too, because they have a love of African culture. But you also got a love of African culture. For sure. And definitely. So when it comes to, as far as African culture and hip hop, and then how it relates to African American culture, us Black Americans, you talk about what's going on in the country in terms of inspiration with your music. Because yeah, you said that of course with everything that happened with Trayvon Martin, and then police brutality and everything like that. And then you even said that you read the Malcolm X autobiography. Did that come into play?
Definitely. My favorite book, to be honest. I'm a huge Malcolm X fan. As far as the African culture, I'm just infatuated with just like the community aspect of building with them over there. Like I have friends from that side, so, and also history just showing like some of our ancestors that's come from so many different places. It just shows, the community aspect on it, and how we would be better together as opposed to apart. So that's literally what it's birthed in, just camaraderie with people who look like you. I'm trying to bring this black excellence, bring it global. That's the reason why, for the most part, I be even collaborating with them, besides them being like great people and building with them for months, but just like continuing just to push that agenda of like people in the underground or even the mainstream, like collaborating with our brothers and sisters on the other side, for real.
Yeah, because even when you talk about your influences as far as Malcolm X, what's one of the main lessons that you learned from reading his work? Because he's misunderstood as being like dangerous, but it's like, but what's something that you learned from him, or as far as overall from his work?
Besides Black Pride, I think the intelligence is what's most appealing, because it's so like structured and racially mixed that it's not dangerous, but it's so acute and it's so sharp that it seems dangerous. That was the biggest thing that stood out to me, of even having like an affinity like that for like Malcolm X, like just like listening to his speeches. So stern of a voice, but so graceful of a looking person, like just the duality in the way he would speak. Like it might seem stern, but it always was like sprinkles of love in it, that it always came off as sincere. And yeah, the intellect just was off the charts, and also the boldness and not quieting like his spirit, no matter what space he was in. Like when he had these debates at these colleges, these all white colleges, it's just like that right there, like gave me like goosebumps when I first seen that. Seeing a black man, like, cause I come up in a white town, and I wasn't always confident as a kid, like, and that played with my self-confidence and to a great extent my self-esteem. So just seeing somebody do that, like, yeah, it definitely, it infused me for sure.
Yeah, because he would sit down and talk with anybody when it came to social issues, civil rights, and everything like that. Because he didn't care. He talked to anybody.
For sure. Definitely talk to anybody.